if there is no other gripe with the unfinished game side of it, let's talk about the mechanical side of it. Do you have any gripes with the mechanical side of the game now? Because you listed a lot. I mean, that's a lot more than I did. That I didn't even know there was that many problems with the unfinished side of it. Like obviously from my realm, it's like, oh, they don't have good Wi-Fi indicator. That's what I'm seeing on Twitter. But like you're listing off so many basic functions that should be in a fighting game in 2024, especially after the release of Street Fighter 6, which blew the whole competition apart with like, this is the standard now. And then Tekken 8 as well. So what about the mechanical side of the game? Do you have gripes in?
Mechanical as in gameplay?
Like gameplay, yeah. Like gameplay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't really have any gripes mechanically. I think mechanically the game that's my favorite part. You know?
System mechanics.
Yeah, I like a lot of the mechanics that they got rid of, which is the best part. There was a lot of mechanics in MK11 that were definitely hand-holding mechanics. I don't like hand-holding mechanics, but that's become kind of a new thing in fighting games in general, modern fighting games. I don't really, that's the thing I don't like about modern fighting games is they're shifting towards trying to make the not so good player have a chance, which is, I mean, I understand the business model of it, but it hurts competition. If we're being honest, like Fatal Blow, I've never liked that mechanic. That mechanic should just actually be removed from the game in general. It was never a good mechanic. It wasn't even a good idea. And for those who don't play or watch MK, Fatal Blow is essentially a comeback mechanic where if two players have health bars, you start with 100%. Once a player actually gets to 30%, you receive this mechanic called a Fatal Blow, which you can just press 2 buttons. And if it so happens to hit your opponent, you just get a free 35%. Some characters get more, some characters get less, some characters get put into better positions on the screens, some things like that. And you simply just get this mechanic for essentially losing life. And if you so happen to not land the move, it actually comes back in about 10, 15 seconds. I'm not sure exactly, but it comes right back. It comes right back and you can use it again. So until you actually land this move, it just keeps coming back. And it's a very hand-holding mechanic because you shouldn't get rewarded in that fashion for losing. That's literally all that mechanic is you receive it for losing, and it gives you one more opportunity to essentially rob the opponent. And I can't lie, I've robbed plenty of people with Fatal Blow. Thank you, NRS, but it sucks when I get robbed. I would be honest. But yeah, that mechanic sucks. That's the only mechanic I actually don't like. A lot of people complain about up block, but you know, people are gonna complain about something all the time. You know. My biggest gripe is anti-airs. You know, I like that in Street Fighter, you can always, depending on the DP, obviously, some DPs might not cover the greatest angles, but there's no consistent anti-air in NRS games. They always make the jump kicks so hard to anti-air. It's very annoying. It just basically promotes the player to just take to the skies, because they know if that player tries to even anti-air, you might get stuffed. And getting stuffed means you tried to anti-air them out the air, and then you lose, and now you're getting full comboed because he jumped. And it takes me more skill to anti-air than it does for him to jump. You get what I'm saying? Right.
Mm-hmm. And so it encourages the
bad play.
Yes.
It encourages bad play. And that was what MK11 was all about. Let's not even talk about MK11. Let's focus on MK1. But they introduced up block, which I think is a great mechanic in the sense that there's counterplay to it. You can grab it and it does a lot of damage. It's kind of like grabbing a perfect parry. It does a lot of damage.
Okay.
But as far as I just want a solid anti-air that I could depend on always, and I don't have to take a risk. I feel like I need one anti-air where if you jump, period, you're losing life if I'm ready for the jump in. You know what I'm saying? If I'm ready always, you should just lose. You decided to abandon neutral and just decided to jump. A desperation, and the fact that you can actually get rewarded or put me into a 50-50 scenario off just jumping is kind of scrubby. Because like I said, you can empty jump. Like they introduced up block to be this universal mechanic that all characters can use to anti-air people for jumping. It gives you a full combo if you up block a jump attack. But like I said, the counterplay is to grab it, and the fact that you can put me into that 50-50 of, oh my God, is he going to grab my up block or not, is stupid because you just jumped. That's all you had to do was to enforce that mind game, was just jump. Because some characters are just hard to anti-air. But I just feel like they should just make down twos like invincible. Honestly, like DPs are invincible. They don't launch. you know, in Street Fighter. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, I'm not trying to act like I know all the Street Fighter. I just play it enough to know how the game typically operates.
Yeah. No,
Everybody,
you're on point.
yeah, people have DPS. They usually don't launch. It's not like they can, you know, some I don't know, but can't. But
But by launch, you mean like
like they grant a
an
full
air
combo.
combo?
Yeah, no,
Air
they just
combo.
grant a
No.
full combo in general. Yeah, just the DPS are just used as a way to just if you jump, you're gonna eat this. If I'm right.
Yes. Yes.
And
Exactly.
I feel like NRS games should have that. Down twos, they don't launch. They do like 14%. So it's enough to a person's not gonna die for jumping, but they will die if you jump 10 times, you know?
Yeah.
If you keep jumping at me, you're gonna keep getting down two. That would be nice if they made down twos invincible. It doesn't launch. So that means the player just doesn't jump and die, you know?
You know what would sorry to interrupt, you know what would also be a benefit of doing that?
Yeah.
When I think of Mortal Kombat and the era of Mortal Kombat that really caught my attention, the down two in Mortal Kombat looked so satisfying. Hitting somebody with a down two in the Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 games, there's a specific feeling attached to that move. I know in Street Fighter it's the Mexican uppercut, but it just doesn't work the same as Mortal Kombat. At like that full launcher uppercut to your face. I feel like seeing more of the down two. Every time I see a down two, somebody get anti-aired with a down two in Mortal Kombat, it just looks so sick and satisfying, and it always gives me that nostalgic Mortal Kombat feeling. So I feel like by making it invincible, that would also be good for the game, visibly for the audience as well, because they could also add the whoopsie, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know I did that kind of
toasty.
shitty, but yeah, the toasty. Does it say toasty or whoopsie?
I mean, I think he might say that too, but to my knowledge, it might be just
whoopsie. There it is.
Yeah. But
yeah, I feel like that would look cool too.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you know, that's just what you prefer in the game. But that's cool. Everybody could want things to look a certain way or perform. But my gripes are really only the mechanics that promote bad play and really just the game being unfinished, no crossplay. And then when they did introduce crossplay, there was no crossplay for King of the Hills. And there's currently still, until this day, no online practice. Till this day, no. So they introduced crossplay, and it wasn't in King of the Hills. Then they introduced it. When they introduced it, it made the server so laggy. I just don't like how every time NRS does a patch, it causes the game to perform horribly. It's so laggy online, and I don't see other fighting games go through that. So I would pray that a game corporation that makes as much money as they do from us, the consumer, they would at least make the game finished. And when you drop patches, it doesn't cause the game to just crash and not work. And I feel like that's reasonable to want out of your money. You know, you don't want to pay $60 for a game and it costs $500 for the console. And it's how you think PC players feel. They have like $22,000, $1,500 rigs, and they buy MK, and you can't play it because the game, it just wasn't made for PC. The PC ports have been trash for every NRS game.
Yeah,
being honest.
You know, it's also important to realize that it's not just $60 to the professional player. It's our whole lives. Our whole lives are devoted to this, and we spend a lot more than $60 in order to make this a reality, this dream into a reality of being able to win a tournament. So I feel like it's not a lot to ask for from our perspective. I mean, everything that you have said sounds very logical, very standard at this point, and very fair as well. Now, the logistics and money and whatever, the business side of it, we obviously don't know, but we could literally give you a thesis statement on why the changes that we typically ask for, and by we, I mean most top players, we are looking for more logical answers. But anyway, sorry, I went on a little rant there.
No, you're good, bro. I was talking for a while.